What's up, guys? RyHo here, and I definitely had to talk about this movie. I just got a chance to see it last night in the theater, and that is Dredd, or Dredd 3D. I don't know exactly what they're calling it. When you look it up on IMDb, it comes up Dredd 3D, so I don't know what they're going for with that exactly, but I got a chance to catch it with Cole last night, and I definitely wanted to have a chat about this movie. So to get down to the particulars, it was directed by Pete Travis, who I think he most recently did like Vantage Point, which I saw. I can't remember that much about. I remember I think Dennis Quaid was in it. He also did a movie called Endgame, which I don't know, and he's done some TV stuff. It stars Karl Urban as Judge Dredd, Olivia Thirlby as Anderson, and Lena Headey as Mama. She's sort of the antagonist of the film. And the idea is, just in case you don't know anything about like Judge Dredd, just to give a little bit of background to it. Judge Dredd comes from a series of comics which came out in the UK. It started off, the character and like the world that he's in started off in a series of comics called 2000 AD. And eventually Judge Dredd, as his own character, kind of spun out of that. Although I think he appeared in lots of 2000 AD stuff too. He's like a main character in that series in a lot of ways. So the idea is that you've got this dystopian future. The world's like, the Earth is like scorched. It's very far in the future, and there are these huge cities that would span like massive areas. I can't remember how big they say the city they're in the movie is, but it's something massive. Like it spans a couple of states. And the one they're in this movie is called Mega City 1. And there's these group of lawmen, I guess you could call them. It's sort of like kind of cowboy kind of feel to it. They're called judges, and basically they are judge, jury, executioner on the battlefield. Because there's something like, I don't know how many people in this city alone, you know what I mean, like 800 million or something like that. And they're really the only law that's there. So it's basically just these badasses that go around town on their motorcycles or whatever, just like they're riding in town on their horses. They wear big badges and everything like that. It's got a very sort of Western kind of feel to that. But these judges, like I said, they can basically handle anything on the field. They try to put people in jail if they don't do anything that's that bad. And I think they call jail like ISO cubes, which I don't really know what that means because I'm not that familiar with the comics. Or they kill them on the spot, execute them if they do something that's too bad. So you have Judge Dredd. He's just a judge, but he's definitely like got to be a badass, got to be one of the best kind of thing. And eventually, he kind of gets put on the case of assessing a new judge. Her name's Anderson, and the thing about Anderson is that she's actually a mutant, and they don't go into depth on mutants too much, but I guess there are people that would have been near radiation zones, which I guess is what scorched the Earth. Nukes must have went off, and most of them end up hideously deformed and stuff like that, but she actually has psychic powers. She's actually very, very powerful psychic, so they kind of want to test her out, see if she's going to be a good judge. So he takes her out on their first mission, and they get called into a triple homicide in this huge tower called Peach Trees. They get there, they find these dead bodies that have been skinned and thrown, and they realize it's related to this new drug called slow-mo. And the idea with this drug is it makes you feel like time slows down to like 1% of actual like real time when you take it, and it's really popular hitting the streets. It's really new. And they sort of want to investigate that, and I won't go into too many of the particulars, but the tower they're in, the Peach Trees Tower, is run by a big gang, the leader of which is Mama, that I mentioned, Lena Headey's character, and she locks down the whole building, and they basically have to fight their way to the top to survive. It's kind of got some Die Hard, in there, and most recently the Raid Redemption. It's kind of got, it's that storyline, but you can't really say that it ripped it off. I believe that they were being made sort of like concurrently, and I think mostly what the deal with this is that it makes it a little easier to film such a big crazy world when you kind of confine it into one area. So for them to put it in this tower I think it made it a little bit easier for them to sort of keep the story tight and compact. But anyway, so to get into the movie itself, the story, it's good. Like, it's nothing to run home about. It's pretty straightforward and decent, which is nice. It doesn't have to be some big epic all the time, and span sequels and all that stuff. It's very concise, very to the point. Good dialogue, good characters. The actors in it were very good. I can't think of any shitty actors. So there were some faces that I didn't know at all in there, which were, they did a really good job. One that comes to mind, I can't think of the guy's name, but he was sort of like Mama's second in command. He was kind of this badass guy. He was running around with he had like a beard, and he was kind of a badass. He had a little team of guys with him. There was this dude that was like a hacker. He was kind of annoying, but other than that, like, everyone was really, really well cast and did a good job in their roles, especially Karl Urban. I don't know a whole lot about the subject matter from what I've read. Like, he nailed Dredd. Never takes the helmet off, doesn't say much. He's just a badass, and he did that. He nailed it completely. He did an awesome job of that. So yeah, in other words, the story was pretty good. The score was very industrial, sort of like, I don't know how else to put it, but I watched Rambo Raph's review of this movie last night, and you definitely need to check that out because he makes a lot of good points on something I'll touch on at the end of this. But he said it sounded very much like a John Carpenter kind of soundtrack, and I see where he's coming from with that. It's like I said, when I said it's industrial, sometimes it's not really so much music as it is like sounds and tones and stuff like that. But it works really well for the movie. It totally jives with everything you're seeing in the film. I felt like it was kind of like a little industrial / maybe some Linkin Park kind of a thing, and I really liked it. I mean, it didn't, it's decent, but at least it's not shitty, and it's not just always soundtrack music. You know what I mean? Bands and stuff like that. It was actually a score. Which was, nice. So yeah, the acting, good score, good story, and like overall, it all comes together in just a really good movie. It's just really fun. It's intense. It's gory as hell. Tons of action scenes. Well, I shouldn't say tons of action scenes, but when they have an action scene, it's really cool. A lot of gunplay. I don't know what else to say. I just thought that the movie was really, really good. And I haven't seen Judge Dredd with Stallone in a long time. I don't remember liking it very much. But it definitely, this movie, I think, knocks it out of the park. You know what I mean? It just really does a great job of the Judge Dredd character. And now to get to the point that I know Matt made in his video, and he's made another video since. What sucks is this movie came out, and it's like Cole and I went and saw it, and there might have been 6 people in the showing. I think it's like number 6 at the box office or lower now. I don't even know where it is now. It's just not doing very well, and it totally, totally sucks because it's actually a really cool action flick. Definitely better than The Expendables 2. I don't know. I just really thought highly of the movie. When I walked out of it, I thought, that was pretty good. And then, like, as I thought about it over the night, like, it really sunk in with me that I kind of wanted to see it again. You know what I mean? It could be not doing well because of the 3D thing. I know 3D is big and it's hot right now, but it also is like I paid $16.50, I think, to see it. And that's a pretty high price tag to go see a movie. I mean, most movies are pretty expensive now, but $5 more than the usual ticket is a bit much. And we went on like a weeknight, so I guess it's technically like $7 more or something like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, they're calling this movie Dredd 3D. I don't think there's a theater in town that doesn't have it in 3D. Like, usually you have the option. There might be theaters where you can go see it in 2D. I don't know, but I know that I saw it in 3D. The 3D is excellent. It reminded me of Tron Legacy. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't constant. Sometimes it felt like it wasn't even on, but when it was important, it was there. And it totally jived with this really cool. There's these scenes in the movie where they're using slow-mo, and you'll have to see them, but they go into slow motion, and it's just really cool. Everything's very sparkly and really cool looking, and mixed with the 3D, it looks really great. So it's sort of criminal that the movie's doing poorly because it should do really well. It should sell a lot. I would love to see a sequel. The first thing I said when I walked out of the theater was, it was a really cool movie. It was great, but it was all confined to this tower, and I wanted to see more of Mega City 1. Like, the opening scene is this really cool car chase. I wanted to see more stuff like that. I wanted to be out in the city, and there's a lot of source material for them to draw on. This, the Judge Dredd in the UK is huge, and and within comic circles, I'm sure it's pretty popular too. So there's a lot of stuff that they could draw on to make more stories here, and I would definitely like to see more. They don't like open it up for a sequel, but it sort of is left open that we could have more Judge Dredd stories for sure, and I would love to see more. So it kind of sucks that not a lot of people are going to see this movie. But if you haven't seen it, I don't often like recommend a movie. It's to everyone's taste. I would recommend this movie. I would recommend going to see it. If you could see it in 2D, that'd be cool. If you can't, you have to see it in 3D. Like I said, the 3D is pretty good. It's a high price tag, but it is a decent movie. I think it's worth it. I think you'll like it. If you don't, that sucks. But everyone has their own taste. But I think that this is a really good flick, and I think that everyone would like this movie. So I think that you should definitely go out and check it out. That is Dredd 3D.